Cheers, motherfuckers.
Yeah, there it is. I was waiting for somebody else to jump in there. Yeah,
Still like that new intro.
yeah. Cheers. That intro is pretty badass. I'm gonna have to pull some videos out so I can
Get your screen time.
maybe featured in there just a little bit, John. I got a lot of videos of myself, so
I'll bet.
maybe not the ones you want to see. Hey guys, welcome to the Grabbing the Brisket barbecue podcast. It's a podcast where we get together, we talk everything about barbecue and beer and everything in between. So we thank you and we welcome you into the podcast.
Mm-hmm. What is in between barbecue and beer?
Literally everything else.
Everything else is in
All
between
the
those
other
two?
things,
Okay.
yeah.
I just want to make sure I was on the same page here. I love that.
Everything barbecue and everything not barbecue.
Okay, so hey, today we got a wonderful interview, a returnee, a friend of the show, friend of the podcast. We got Doug Scheiding with Rogue Cookers. He's going to step back in with us. I don't know why we keep sending invites out to him, and he keeps graciously accepting, and it's awesome because he's a badass dude and super knowledgeable about barbecue and the sport of competition barbecue and just all around and rocket science and aerodynamic type stuff. And I got a few things that I have planned out today. I really didn't do it on purpose. It's just kind of stuff that kind of just happened today. But it does involve, I guess, space and flying and stuff like that.
How do planes fly?
Right. Nobody really knows. I think I watched a Joe Rogan podcast at one point in time where he was talking about, maybe it was a stand-up that he did. And he was like, how does any of this stuff even works? Like, if all the smart people die, we're just all screwed.
Yeah.
Because we don't know, how does this cell phone work? How does this electricity work? Nobody knows. We're just all going to die.
That's true.
We're just all going to die. That's a nice
I think
thought.
it'll be a good, solid, good 2 weeks that everybody's great. But after that, I think society just breaks
Yeah,
down.
we keep going to the grocery store. Like, why is it not refilling? Like, where's...
Exactly. I think that's kind of what they're thinking about with there's a lot of trades and stuff that this new generation is just not picking up, and they're like, it's just going to be gone. All this knowledge is going to be gone. It's kind of the same thing.
No, hopefully it just means that they're going to start getting paid more and more and people actually start doing it. So
Yeah.
Maybe. Definitely maybe.
Hopefully the knowledge of barbecue does not go away. I think that's one thing that's probably going to stand the test of time. If we do lose electricity, there are going to be gentlemen and gentlewomen out there that do know how to operate a offset smoker and cook with open fire.
100. Was that a good response?
Right.
no, really. Were you even listening? 100.
There was a fly. I was tracking a fly.
John's OCD's kicked in.
100%. Yes, it has.
Okay, so today, let me go through it. I'll read this just really quick before we jump in some of the crazy talk that I have. So today we're welcoming in Doug Scheiding, a pit master, barbecue competitor, a world champion with the Rogue Cookers. Doug has won numerous awards in the barbecue competition circuit and is a brand ambassador and pro cook team to the Head Country Barbecue and the E3 Meat Company. He's also a co-host of the Barbecue and Baseball podcast and the Barbecue Traeger Grills Pro Team member. It's going to be awesome catching up with him and trying to learn little tips and tricks and secrets. We try to pull a little bit out of him. I mean, hopefully he's willing to share. I know he will.
Yeah, and we're going to get his entire competition rib recipe for you people, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, and we've had Doug on multiple times, so go back and check out some of the former episodes. You'll get a little bit more of a backstory on how he came about to where he is in this barbecue, I say game, I mean this barbecue industry that we're in right now. I mean, he started as a engineer graduate from Texas A&M University, and then got obviously that was his deal, but then he found the love and passion of the art of barbecuing, and that kind of, once that bug gets a hold of you, it's kind of hard to shake it.
And he's totally into the science behind it, right? He's running racks of ribs maybe 4 different ways to figure out, and just changing one little thing, figure out what's the best. I don't do it.
Who would have thought an engineer is behind the science of barbecue?
I'm just saying,
crazy.
He's yeah.
And we joke about him being a rocket scientist, but he actually pretty much is.
Yeah. Be using some big words. We'll be gotta look this up real quick.
Right. Gotta be like that, John. Look that up, please, as we continue. I saw today what kind of blew my mind a little bit. the green gummy bears and the Haribo gummy bears, the gold bears, the green gummy bears. What flavor did you think those were?
Green gummy bear would be a apple or sour
green
apple. Yeah,
Yeah,
like that.
that's what I thought too. But apparently that's not true, and this is corroborated as well. It's strawberry.
Why is it green?
I don't know.
Let's be honest. They all just taste like artificial fruit, right?
Yeah, well,
That is true, but why green? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense because red was already cherry or something.
how
I
did
don't
you
know.
stumble upon this? Like,
I go through different rabbit holes on Twitter and TikTok and social medias, and it was something that popped up, and I was like, okay, that's weird.
so what is the red? Cherry?
I guess red's cherry.
Fruit punch? I don't
Fruit
know.
punch, maybe.
I don't know. Have you guys seen? We've probably talked about this before. Some of the Amazon reviews of the Haribo sugar-free
those are
ones.
so freaking funny.
Ray shits their pants.
I think we've talked about it before, but if you haven't heard that, if you haven't heard of it, go look up the sugar-free Haribo on Amazon and go down, scroll on down, and read some of the reviews. You will laugh your ass off.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you need a colonic, just go ahead and grab you a handful of those.
Yeah, or if you need something to make you poop.
Yeah.
Big words.
Big words.
Big words.
I also saw that McDonald's is dropping a new sauce. Did you see this? They're dropping a Big Mac sauce.
Like, it's
Doesn't
going to
Big
go.
Mac already have a sauce?
It's a Big Mac dipping sauce.
You dip your burger into it?
Yeah, it comes in like a dipping sauce. So I don't really know what it is. I imagine it's just, I don't know if it's the same sauce that the Big Mac comes with, but it's coming in a sauce pack form.
Huh.
You can dip your nuggets in, or you can do
We need like
French
a
fries.
sauce bowl to dip that thing into. I don't know how
Right.
they're going to do that.
I bet it's just the Big Mac secret sauce that they're putting in
It's
it.
like extra sauce.
Yeah. you
Yeah.
can
Isn't it just like
dip your
Thousand
nuggets
Island?
in. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I'll probably never try it.
I'll be honest,
Really?
I've never had a Big Mac, so
What?
Really?
Really?
Why?
I mean, it comes with cheese, and I don't
Road trip.
I never. I would have to order it without cheese, and I'm just like, no. Then it's just two hamburger buns on top of each other. You have two hamburgers on top of you know what I mean? It's like it's weird.
That is weird.
I'd be like, can I just take the middle bun out and just eat a double hamburger? I mean, is that weird?
Yeah, it's weird. The whole thing's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
But I did hear that McDonald's reformulated their burgers, so anybody out there, maybe go check them out. I know they're fixing to unleash them. They have changed the way they cook the patties, and I think what they're doing now is they're taking the onions and they're diced like super fine, and they're basically making like a Oklahoma smash burger type deal.
Oh, so they've been
Really?
watching us
So
lately.
the onions go down, the burger goes down to that, and it cooks on that. Basically, the burger's a little bit different. I think they're changing up the buns a little bit softer. They've added a few things. The cheese is a little bit more meltier, and apparently they're bringing the hamburger back.
Oh.
The
The hamburger.
Hamburglar. Hamburglar.
I'm not even going to try to say it.
Yeah,
Do it.
right.
I'm glad because I'll be honest, I hate McDonald's burgers.
And you've been missing the hamburger.
I've also been missing the Hamburglar.
Yeah, I think once you reach a certain age, and obviously, I mean, I still eat it every once in a while, and I know the burger's not bad. I prefer a different burger, but I think usually once you reach over the age of like Happy Meal age, you just stop going to McDonald's. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like there's certain people that are always at McDonald's.
True.
It's just not good. It's
I
just bad.
I just find a better option, and I think what people can't beat is their pricing.
Yeah.
I guess.
They are super cheap, and they've gotten down to pretty much a science on how to make it as cheap as possible and put it out to the people. But that'll be one of the telltale signs of a recession, and if things are really getting shitty, if McDonald's just start crazy. If you go in there to get yourself a six piece nugget with a fry, and you're like, oh, it's gonna be $8.99 or $9. You're like, what? No,
I'm one of those like weird people that I only get the Filet-O-Fish at McDonald's.
Ooh, I haven't had that since.
That's the only thing I'll eat there.
God dang. I don't ever like. Even when I take my kids there, I'm going next door to Taco Bell, or I go to Wendy's or Whataburger or something else. It's just that place grosses me out. I don't know what it is.
yeah. That might be a new Twitter post for us. Is like what your McDonald's order says about you.
Oh, I don't want to know what mine says about me.
Filet of fish, fucking weirdo.
I'm a weirdo or I'm Catholic. It's one of the two.
Exactly.
Right.
Last I saw, so today SpaceX Starship launched today. You guys catch any of that?
No, I didn't even know.
I heard about it.
Elon Musk is, I guess, apparently it's the largest, a super heavy rocket that they've built and put up in sky. And it wasn't really designed to go up into outer space and fly around and come back down. This is more of a test flight. Could it get it off the ground into the orbit, and then not orbit, but before it gets into orbit, it's supposed to do a maneuver where it kind of just like circles around, does like a little 360 and kick off its, I guess, boosters. It malfunctioned or something, so it ended up self-detonating in the sky, which was not totally planned, but they knew it was a possibility it was going to happen. But all in all, it's a total success. But the big thing is how much of its payload it can carry up into space.
Really?
Yeah. And it's like, of course, I had to like Google some of this shit because I didn't really like.
You didn't know all the science
like
behind rockets?
Elon's using a bunch of big words. On
Maybe
his
we should be
website
talking to
and shit.
Doug about this.
Definitely, yeah. We'll bring it up to him. So, it goes into the Starship. Will be the world's most powerful launch vehicle ever developed, capable of carrying 150 metric tons, fully reusable, and 250 metric tons expendable. So I assume whatever they carry up there, they're just going to get rid of.
Right. They can't land with all that weight, but they can take off with it.
Correct. So that rocket will be able to go up in there and then turn around and come back down. So, and I also made a little caption trying just perspective for anybody out there that's listening. Is like, how much is a freaking 150 metric tons?
It's a lot. Is what it is.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's like 300 something thousand pounds. But I did like the math equivalent to the Grabbing the Brisket podcast. So that equals to about 2,053 kegs of beer that it can take up to space.
Wow. I thought you were going to go with briskets. How many briskets is that?
Well, he's almost ready to go to Mars now.
Right. Yeah.
You can make it almost there. Yeah. I'm out of beer. Shit.
Well, if he has this crew on here, he might have to send 2 rockets up there for sure.
Refuel.
We drink it on the way there.
Yeah.
We're out.
I did see some of that, though. And it's funny because it made it up. They said like 25 miles, which is, like you said, everybody's saying it's a success. But if you look on like the Twitter and the people that do not like Elon,
everybody's hating on him.
They're like, oh, he failed. His thing exploded. And they're like, they knew that was going to happen. Like they literally planned for it. I don't know.
Everybody hates him. They're just like, please just let us back on Twitter so we could just spread misinformation to everybody.
I know. I like him. Like, I don't know. He's funny as shit to me.
He's like, I don't want to censor anybody, but just quit saying false stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, nobody more successful than you will ever be a hater. Just remember that.
Yeah.
That's true.
Little nugget for you.
And we're moving on, guys. Hey, we're moving on to Lawn Chair Larry. Have you heard of this story?
I do not think I have.
Okay, I haven't either. This comes to you from 1978.
Does it have to do balloons?
It has to do with balloons.
I've heard of this guy.
This guy, crazy. It sounds like he's probably was, if he wasn't in the 70s, and he was a neighbor of ours, he'd probably be right here on this podcast, like kind of crazy shit that we would do. So this guy wanted his, I'll go into, I won't read this whole excerpt, but 1978, a man named Larry Walters decided he wanted to fly. But instead of getting his pilot license or building his own airplane, he came up with a rather bizarre plan. He went to a military surplus store and purchased over 45 weather balloons, which he filled with helium and tied it to a lawn chair in his backyard. That's the start. I sent you a couple of pictures. I don't know if you got it today.
No, I didn't even see it.
I sent it to the Grabbing the Brisket. I don't know if it's too late for you to post it, but maybe later on in the podcast we'll mention it to Doug coming up. So I sent you a picture. They actually have the chair itself in the Smithsonian Museum.
Don't reward this shit.
I'm not even
rewarding stupidity.
Okay. Let me tell you what this guy brought up with him. He had a plan. He was like, okay, so he straps it up. He airs everything up. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna take with me the chair. I'm gonna bring a parachute. I'm gonna arm myself with a pellet gun, a CB radio, and some beer.
Pellet gun so we can shoot the balloons and let me go down? Yeah. Okay. All right. I see
what
where
if
he's
he
going.
accidentally shoots more than one? He starts coming down
goes
quick.
a little slower.
His
or a little
thought
faster.
was he was going to go about 30, 40, 50 feet or whatever, and then basically drink some beer and then shoot a couple balloons down. And
Did he go higher than 30, 40,
Yes,
50 feet?
He went way higher. This balloon shot up like a rocket. He
had this sucker weighted down or something.
Yes.
And cuts the cord and shoo.
I'll shoot you some pictures. It looks like he's got like milk containers filled with water on the side of his chair that are like roped up. That was his anchor to keep him from like taking off. And I assume it was probably tied to the ground, and he's like, whatever. So he shot up to an altitude of 15,000 feet quick. And so he got up there.
15,000?
15,000.
Oh, man. He's like, that's like hypoxia kicking in.
How
he doesn't know what's going on.
How high do airplanes go?
Yeah.
Like 40,000. But
40?
yeah,
Okay.
when you get up above like 10,000, like hypoxia, you don't know what's going on. You're alive, but you're out of it. Like you could die pretty quick.
So maybe he brought oxygen with him. Hopefully he was smart enough to bring the beer. Maybe he brought oxygen as well.
Probably, right?
Yeah. So he gets up there, and all of a sudden, you know what he forgot? So what his plan was, he was going to get up so high, cut the rope.
He didn't bring a knife.
Parachute. Yeah, he didn't bring a knife.
What about the BB gun? Was that for like shooting birds or?
No,
He gets hungry while he's up there.
It was to shoot the balloons, but it didn't really go into details why he didn't shoot the balloons. I don't know.
Maybe because he was 15,000 feet in the air, not thinking very clearly.
It's
Probably
true.
so.
He could have got up there fast enough and.
So so he went straight to the CB. He started radioing for help. I think there were some certain pilots that were able to intercept his communication that thought it was a joke until I think he was spotted by a freaking pilot, and it was called in. So he went 200 miles.
200 miles?
He went 200 miles. And I think this is probably a 45-minute flight that he went up in the air. 200 miles.
Damn.
He
That's
landed.
making good time.
He landed. I don't know where he took off, but he landed in Long Beach, California. Yeah, he was immediately arrested.
Long Beach?
Long Beach.
Lucky he didn't land in the ocean. He's
I know, I
right
was
there.
Yeah. So maybe he was able to pop off a couple shots and bring him down. I'm not really sure what happened or how they got him down, but yeah, everybody out there listening, look up Lawn Chair Larry. And I think here in a little bit, we'll bring some pictures.
We'll get those pictures up in just a minute here.
Of Larry himself in the chair and all that stuff.
I heard a story.
Crazy.
There was a priest in Brazil who did the same thing, and his plan was to float to the next city and raise awareness and get some money or something like that for some people that needed it. He went the wrong way and went over the ocean, and he didn't make it.
No?
No, they found him a long time later. But I think it's just don't strap yourself to balloons and go up in the air. Just don't do that.
Or use a chair that's maybe an inflatable chair, like the floating ones for your pool, and that way if you land in the ocean,
then you could just die of starvation. Yeah, right. Great, good idea.
He had a parachute. You said, why didn't he just jump off?
I think the parachute was tied to the chair.
Oh, so if it started to fall,
he was seatbelted into the chair.
Oh my god,
this guy thought of it. I just wondered, did he drink all his beer? I think I would have drank them all.
Yes,
that's why he decided to land eventually.
Did he
say, all right, I'm
did
out.
he say what kind of beer it was?
He did not.
Oh, okay. These are the specifics I'd like to know.
Hey, it wasn't any IPA, I can tell you that.
Definitely not.
No, it was Milwaukee's Best or Hams or something. I don't know.
All right,
Anyways.
John. Well, let's go ahead and hit the fine folks up with the barbecue news.
Hot off the grill, barbecue news. And first up, I just saw this on the social medias and reached out to our friend Brooke Lewis from the Shed. They just won their 10th Covey Award. I was like, well, that's awesome. Tell me more about it. What is that? Apparently, it is where the hell is it? It's an award they do for the best. Well, they have the best of all kinds of stuff down there on the coast in Mississippi. Mississippi. Yeah, so they won for best barbecue. They hadn't won in a couple years, so they're super excited. But because they're such awesome people, when they got up there to accept their award, instead of doing a normal speech, they actually went through and gave a shout out to every other barbecue
honoree or mention.
Yeah, all the other restaurants around there that were mentioned that were part of that community, and I just thought it was super cool, so I thought I would share that. So congratulations to them.
That's badass.
10-time Covey winner.
Yeah.
Oh.
I wondering, did they mention grabbing the brisket? Did
was
Brad
that one
go?
of the things he brought up?
Did
They
Brad
probably
go?
should've.
Did Brad go? Just grab the brisket.
He probably did. We can ask him. We have them coming on the show again shortly.
Nice.
Yeah. And then the next thing I got here is the Kansas City Airport. I don't know. I think we talked about this once before, but they redid that airport. I don't know if you guys have ever been through there. It's a a real piece of shit of an airport. There's no food. All the food is outside of security. It's not a good airport. But they just redid it, and they've got a new section. I forget what they're calling it. Barbecue something or other. I don't know. But they have a restaurant in there that's going to be ran by Smokin' Magic, formerly Black Magic Barbecue. I don't know if you guys are familiar with these guys.
Yeah.
They won some KC, I don't know if it was KCBS, some big competition, and the prize was, you want $25,000, but you also get a 1-year contract in this airport for the restaurant.
Nice.
Yeah, and then
That's badass.
But this airport, if you go there, you gotta go check this place out. They've got all kinds of barbecue shit going on in there now, because Kansas City's, I mean, they're number 2 in the nation, so for barbecue.
They're known for their barbecue sauce.
Yeah. Anyways, so they've got the barbecue spot in there. They've got a bunch of other shit, barbecue shit. That's what I got. That's all I got for that. Upcoming guests, I thought I'd mention some of those real quick. I just said we got Brooke and Brad coming up. They're coming up in about 3 weeks. Jonathan Jones, Smoking Hope, coming back on in about 2 weeks. And then we have Erica Roby from Blue Smoke Blair coming on in about a month.
Nice.
All right.
I will say that I did see a viral video of this guy at this airport, completely belligerent, just pissed off that his flight got canceled. And the cops are talking to him. They're like, "Sir, have you been drinking?" He's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "How much you had to drink?" I was like, "I had 3 margaritas." And he's like, well, who gives a shit? He's like, and the guy's like, "Well, you can't be doing." He's like, "Then why have a damn bar right here in the airport?" I was like, well,
That is true. That is true.
He got you there.
It's funny you mention that. Anytime that there's a delay, we know, keep your eyes open because they're going to be coming on shitty. Like they're just sitting in the airport. They got nothing else to do. People start drinking.
You're just throwing drinks and peanuts. Just like, don't be mad at me.
Well, honestly, if you know they're drunk, they can't come on the plane. That's the law.
Just make sure you hide it.
Yeah,
that's the rule.
So please hide it if you're coming on my flight.
Yeah,
you're not above the law.
Anyways, that's all we got. Hot off the grill barbecue news. But we do have a mail call.
When you bring in Doug, it's past 8.
Oh yeah, we probably should.
Yeah.
Should we do that
before we do the
mail call after?
Well, the mail call will take 2 seconds, right?
Yeah, just a couple
Will
things.
it? Okay, as long as it's not waiting on us.
Let's bring in some mail.
What's in the fucking mail? Mail call. I'm just kidding. At least you opened it up, John.
Yeah, I did open it up this time to make it a little bit easier. This gentleman reached out to us, I believe on Twitter. I'll put his information. I'll put his website down below. Dad's Seasonings, and he sent us. I don't know if this is his whole lineup or not, but
yeah, we got the lemon pepper. I think. What do you have there?
Nika barbecue. I don't know.
Okay, got the OG original. The chili dulce.
Chili dolce.
Dulce, huh?
I don't know if you can see that.
My Spanish is good.
We usually have Jan over here to hold it up to the camera, but
nice.
That's all we got.
We'll take some videos and we'll take some pictures and we'll put it out there on social media so where you can check them out. So big shout out to those guys for sending us there's a little letter here. I'll read that off the air.
Oh.
Nice. And then our second package is from, I'm pretty excited about this one.
John's favorite.
Curveball Barbecue Whiskey.
Nice.
I'm singing because I'm happy.
Okay. I was like, why are we singing?
And they sent us a crap ton of liquor. And there's also a goodie pack over there that has all kinds of badass stuff in it. Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep the tin pan.
You're gonna keep the tin pan.
We can reuse that. That's
But
badass.
Yeah, and the little gift pack has flags and signs and koozies and all kinds of shit in it. So you'll be seeing those probably in future content or something. Before we get dug in here, let's get some bills paid and hear from one of our friends on the Oddpods Media Network. This episode is brought to you in part by Oklahoma Joe's new Ryder Deluxe pellet grills.
Since the company's humble beginnings in 1987, Oklahoma Joe has helped those who appreciate the process and the craft of smoking.
What began with Joe Davidson, a member of the Barbecue Hall of Fame, and a dozen hand-built smokers at the Oklahoma State Fair over 30 years ago, has since forged an Oklahoma Joe's brand that builds some of the most sought-after smokers.
Oklahoma Joe has a proud history of creating uncompromising smokers and grills with carefully crafted design, and the newest generation of the popular Rider Series pellet grills carries on this tradition.
The new features in the Oklahoma Joe's Rider Deluxe pellet grills include a Pit Control 2.0 system that delivers the category's first dual-sensor temperature control.
Fire-focused dual-sensor feedback optimizes temperature control based on selected cooking styles, low and slow smoking, or high-heat grilling.
A power feed system that boasts the high-torque auger motor that powers through pellets for incredible power and performance.
The new Rider Deluxe series builds on several popular features, including smoke and sear modes, which features an impressive temperature range that runs from 200 degrees Fahrenheit to a searing hot 650 degrees Fahrenheit, and a 20-pound quick-draw hopper that allows unused pellets to be drained in seconds for simple storage, removal, and swapping of pellet flavors. Guys, if you want to find out more information about the new Rider Deluxe series pellet grills from Oklahoma Joe, check out the Oklahoma Joe's website, and the link is in our description in the bio, and that's oklahomajoe.com.
Hey, you there. We've got a question for you. Are you tired of clickbait stories and the loudest voices driving discussions in culture and entertainment?
If so, I'm Dylan.
I'm Kendall.
And I'm Corey.
And we host the podcast From the Middle. We're middle-class guys living in the middle of America, in the middle chapters of our lives with points of view somewhere in the middle.
We take a more reasonable and centrist approach in our discussions covering genres like comedy, culture, entertainment, and interviews with really interesting folks like business owners, comic creators, doctors, news anchors, New York Times best-selling illustrators, professional stand-up comics, and more. We really value a relaxed and conversational podcast, one that we hope is so fun and laid back, you'll forget you're not actually hanging out with us.
So search at From the Mid Pod, just like it sounds, or check us out everywhere you can find podcasts.
Boom. There it is. And what a coincidence that they are our little commercial this week for Oddpods, because they just had their 200th episode, and I just want to say huge congrats. That's freaking awesome.
Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah. Speaking of awesome, we got Doug in the house.
Ha ha ha.
There he is.
Hey.
What's going on, brother?
What's up, guys?
Not a whole lot. Looking forward to having you on. Sorry we had to cancel on you a few weeks ago, but this is great. Glad you're here.
Oh, no worries. No worries. All good.
I don't know why you keep coming back for this punishment.
You got to support the Texas guys. We got to stay together.
Definitely. I love the new digs. I love the digs, the podcast gear that you got going behind you there, Doug. Hey, welcome into the Grab the Brisket podcast. So we've already pumped you up. We've already alluded. We've already told the folks and the people to go back and check some of the earlier episodes where we can get the backstory on Doug. So I wrote down a few things. So it's what I do. I kind of plan stuff. So. We talked. We'll get your point of view because we dropped a few stories earlier today, and it was coincidence, but it does have to do with space and flying. And I know Doug comes with the aerospace engineering degree from Texas A&M, which congratulations, that's freaking phenomenal. And you moved into a field of barbecue, and I know it wasn't like a super quick transition. It wasn't easy, but you had some great success in winning some world champions, winning at some of the highest barbecue competitions that this country has to offer, and I know that has to feel badass. Even some of the highest competitions that the state of Texas offers, which I'm kind of biased, and I'll put it out there. I mean, I think we have some of the best competitions and cooks in the world. That's just me. I don't know what your thoughts are, Doug.
Oh, absolutely. So, and I think you're seeing now the Texas cooks, like Bill Purvis and, Fred and everybody going out and spreading their success amongst the KCBS folks as well. So I think that proves that Texas has a fine set of cooks throughout the state for sure.
Right, that was kind of always the thing before, right? Oh yeah, Texas cooks are good, but they're not doing KCBS. They're not doing.
Yeah,
they're not doing.
They can't cook
pork.
Pork.
Yeah.
I
I guess some of us can.
Yeah, I always joke around, and I even made a joke earlier talking about we were talking about I guess Kansas City had like their airport fixed up, and they had an addition barbecue restaurant that got put in there, and I guess the people that got in there won a competition to be able to kind of be in there, which is freaking awesome. It's fantastic. But when I think of that style of food, I think of their sauce. I think it's just that sauce just on everything. You know what I mean? And it's not for me. I like sweet every once in a while. I'll take one candied rib, and I know it's awesome and it really is good. But I mean, I'll take this salt and pepper. I'll take this savory brisket rib any day.
Yeah, I think that was that place in the airport is actually done through Old World Spice. I think they were the sponsors of that. Okay. And so they've got a lot of their spice rubs and on retail and stuff. And so I know Amy Jung is very involved with that. But that competition, the only time I think I have changed radically my cooking style is when I cooked at the American Royal one year. And we did the invitational and got our asses handed to us the first day. And so I said, that's it. I'm making everything sweet the next day. And we wound up doing pretty well. And we almost got a top 20 in pork, believe it or not, of all things. So, and I, like you said, I made it real sweet. And, see, you can't even really barely taste the meat. You just taste the barbecue sauce. So you got to choose your sauce wisely. And it needs to be sweet, like you said.
Well, it's funny, like even recently when we were cooking at the Austin Rodeo, like we've been competing with beans, and would never place with the beans. And I thought they were super savory, super tasty. And, we just never hit. And we're like, man, what do they want? We're like, you know what? Let's just try to make something real sweet. A sweet kind of bean. First time ever.
Is that what it was? You got first place. Y'all stinkers.
It was our first time trying. Like, that's what they want. I guess they just want sweet beans over there.
Something different.
Yeah.
Really? Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. I actually at the Royal, I got 24th in beans the last time I cooked up there, and they were sweet baked beans.
Mm-hmm. So they want.
I'm actually going to make them this weekend. I'm going next week to cook a foundation event for anti-human trafficking, and so I was like, it's in Kansas, so I'm like, bring out the Kansas sweet baked beans.
Yeah,
you got to.
I got the idea. I got the idea from seeing. I think it was Burnt Finger Barbecue. They always.
Megan.
Yeah, they always turned in beans, and they were always so successful. And he put a recipe out there that featured a sweet barbecue sauce and a spicy barbecue sauce, and then having the beans underneath a protein, whether you're cooking brisket or pork butt, and then having all those drippings just drip down into it. And of course, I think we added bacon to it as well, along with brown sugar, and just let that go for like hours until it was just this sweet baked bean that everybody just loved. And maybe it's when you're eating just a bunch of savory stuff and you get a hold of something sweet, you're like, okay, that's it.
Extra pops.
It just pops.
Yeah.
It's different, actually, and that's the way I like to cook. I like to bring different flavors in and not cook the same thing. So, I'll go to I've been to a few classes and stuff, and I just want to pick up a few techniques, and I don't need or want the recipes because I don't want to taste. I don't want everybody to taste and cook the same thing.
We
all need to have our own style.
Yeah.
We need to have our own style.
It's interesting doing some of these classes and just seeing you hit the nail on the head. It's like, I'm not trying to just get your recipes and just trying to recreate those, but you want to see some of the techniques. You want to see, like, what are you doing that I'm not doing? And some of those classes, and they're valuable to anybody that's interested in taking some of these classes. And I think, Doug, you do a little teaching yourself, but there's all these classes out there. But to learn those little techniques, and there's some that I'm like, I never even thought about that. It's just so weird. And it was so easy and simple. I never even thought about that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start introducing it and bring it to my repertoire for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all I want is a couple things on each protein and something new to try. So that's what I like. So I haven't taken one in a while, but I'm actually going to be going to Memphis in May to teach a few classes up at Memphis in May for Home Depot on behalf of Traeger. So yeah. So that I'll be looking forward to that and seeing some people. Memphis is just the one I don't really have a desire to cook just because with the presentation thing and whether it's the good old boy network or not, but a lot of the MBN people seem to win. But anyway,
they got some changes this year, right? I mean, there's a lot smaller field, and I heard Myron's not going to be there this year.
Oh, is he not? Oh, well, I know that they with the renovations to the park, they had to cut down on 30 to 40 teams. Mm-hmm. So I think the teams had to ante up like $7,000 and then be told that they got axed and couldn't. A guy that won like ribs, I heard a few years ago, didn't get in and stuff. So it'll be interesting. So yeah. So I mean,
crazy.
But the whole presentation thing is just not my. I just think outsiders would have a definite disadvantage to people that they know and are from around there. But although the Blues Hog guys, Tim Shear and I forgot the other guy's name that won it with whole hog last year. I think they won it with ribs and whole dog, and I think this year they're going to try to win it with shoulder. So on their gateway drums, that'd be something that's never been done.
Yeah, I watched a video where they built, and maybe it was something that they unveiled at one of the American Royals. I'm talking about the Blues Hog people, and it was these giant drum smokers.
That's at Memphis. They unveiled
yes.
that at Memphis, where they just made a huge one to make a whole hog, and that was like the third time that they had cooked on it.
Dude. It's crazy.
Sometimes it just works.
Yeah, exactly. So we were talking about some space exploration, kind of, sort of, earlier.
Oh, boy.
Yes. And we were like, maybe we should just wait for Doug to get on there since he probably knows what the hell he's talking about.
Did you follow any of the SpaceX, the Elon Musk rocket launch today? Did you see any of that?
No. I was at a conference on my day job giving a presentation, so I didn't catch. I knew Monday they were supposed to take off and stuff. It's interesting. My father was a pilot in the Air Force, and so I had loved planes, but I have a fairly strong dislike of space. Right. There's no way in hell you'd get me to go to space. No way ever.
I just don't like. I mean, it would be cool for like maybe a couple of minutes, and I'm like, one of those planes where it just takes you up to where you could feel the weightlessness a little bit.
Yeah.
And then back down again. I'm good. I don't think I want to be up there long.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be good. So when I was doing engineering, I did some work for NASA and stuff, but just for training for the space shuttle arm and stuff. So, but anyway.
Okay. Well, the launch today apparently went well. I mean, it apparently
good.
One of the largest, I guess, rockets that they've produced.
It's one of the largest ever in the world.
So their goal was just to get it off the landing pad. And they did. I think they shot up to, I don't remember what the altitude that they got it up to. Mm-hmm. And it was supposed to do a maneuver and kick off one of its rockets, I think. And it kind of spun around in the air a little bit, and then it just kind of self-detonated or whatever they called it. There's a terminology where they
blew up.
They blew
purposefully.
It up.
Yeah.
Correct. Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know they were going to do that. I thought it was supposed to land in the Gulf. But maybe
I think that was the plan, but there was an unplanned explosion.
I think, the blowing up was the backup plan.
Correct.
Yeah, plan B. Yeah.
Well, it blew up, and they can say that was a backup plan.
Right.
So, it was so large, they had like 31 engines on the thing, and getting them all to fire at the same time was going to be highly complicated. And I heard some MIT professor talking about it and how complex it was in order to even think about what they're doing.
Well, James did the math for us earlier and told us how many kegs of beer it could carry up into space.
We got 2,053 kegs of beer it can carry.
That's pretty good.
I think it's equivalent to about 300,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, that'll last about 6 months.
we were equating that to like
Almost
on our
Mars,
trip to
right?
Mars.
Yeah.
You know, if we had enough beer,
We're going to run out of beer halfway there for sure.
Right. Well, he wants to develop and put a city on Mars and stuff. So yeah, that's just crazy to me. But
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I'm good right here.
I don't think any of us are going to be volunteering to go on that first trip.
No.
So we didn't, before we get into kind of the rib talk, we did talk about Lawn Chair Larry. This is a story that came out about 1978 where a guy in a lawn chair strapped a bunch of balloons to his lawn chair and then rocketed up into the sky. Have you heard this story?
No, I have not.
1978, this guy, Larry Walters, decided he wanted to fly, and so he went to an Army surplus store and bought 45 weather balloons, filled it up with helium. His idea was he's going to take he was going to strap on a parachute. He was going to take a BB gun, a pellet gun. He was going to take a CB radio and beer. And he was going to hover up in the air for a while until he got tired, and he was going to start shooting the balloons down until he started kind of descending. But apparently he shot up like a rocket and went out to about 15,000 feet quick.
No kidding.
Yep. 1978.
Passed out.
That's what I said. Hypoxia kicked in. He was done.
I assume that's why he didn't shoot the balloons out. He went from, I don't know where his starting point was, but he went over 200 miles in about, I think they said about 45 minutes to an hour. Landed in Long Beach, California.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, at least he didn't go too much farther, else he'd been in the ocean.
Right,
That would have
exactly.
been good.
Yeah. Exactly. So as a rocket scientist, why did he do that, Doug?
You know, he'd probably had 2,053 kegs of beer beforehand and thought that was a good idea.
Right. It was the 70s. All kinds of good ideas were happening.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
Look.
Maybe a little LSD was mixed in there,
Right.
and he was hallucinating
Right.
and thought it could be done. Yes.
After a 12-pack, all the math just seemed to check out. So
Right.
I'm sure he went through all the checkout stages. Oh, yeah, go fire a case of Coors, go fire parachute. We're good to launch. The one thing he didn't bring up with him, which he planned on doing, was cutting the rope
He didn't bring a
that
knife.
his lawn chair was attached to, and he didn't bring a knife.
Oh, well.
It happens. I mean, it happens.
The best laid plans sometimes just don't work out. Just,
Exactly. But hey, this is a barbecue podcast. We'll jump into a little barbecue talk. Doug, so over the last couple of weeks, maybe months, we've kind of stretched this out just a little bit.
Yeah.
We've been talking all ribs. Just we went from the intro for like selecting ribs. We got
I saw that. I listened to that one, yes.
doing a little bit of a trimming, and I think we've got all the way up to really just seasoning, doing injecting, and there's a few questions that we have for you, and try to get your thought on what you kind of do and what the do's and don'ts of that you've seen in your perspective. So seasoning, it's all subjective, and I know injecting is subjected and marinating, but for us, I know we layer a lot of seasonings, and I think we start off with a kind of a salt pepper base, and then we come with a nice pork rub, and then we'll throw in something else that we think that's complements it. And I know there's a lot of rubs out there, but before we get to seasoning, we do inject our ribs. We just recently started doing that. We never did it before. Usually we kind of just, I would assume, kind of just woke up in the morning and
Seasoned those babies and threw them on.
I think we might have, no, we never injected, but we would just season them, let them sit out for about an hour or so, and then once everything's sweated, we just throw it on the grill, and then we go about our business. But we never brined them, we never injected them or marinated them. Now we do inject the night before. I think we use the Blues Hog. It's either Blues Hog or we'll go back and forth, Blues Hog or the Adam Lambert Sweet Swine of Mine pork injection, which is great stuff. We'll mix it with we'll cut it with some apple juice and inject it heavily, and then the leftover we'll just dump it all over the ribs, and we'll put them in a full pan, and then we'll throw it and cover it into a refrigerator or cooler and let it sit overnight. Do you inject your ribs, or do you have a process?
What is your exact recipe?
Pre-seasoning, pre-night.
Yeah, I don't season, in advance just because I think it turns out a little hammy. But it's funny, when I first started, probably the first 3-4 years, I did inject my ribs, but I don't inject my ribs anymore, and I've actually been trying to simplify my rib recipe a little bit because I thought it was just getting too complex. I had like 4 ingredients in my glaze but you talk about seasoning, and I agree with you. If you've got a real salty, if you don't have a sugary rub, I put the sugar rub down first. Right. And then I just because you don't want it to burn or anything, if things get a little hot, and so I'll put that down. Otherwise, I would put the salt rub down first, just like you said. So, and then I'll do something like a pork based kind of rub, and then I'll maybe even one with a little spice. And I think with a lot of meats, a lot of cooks, under seasoning of meats is rampant. I think even on Instagram, you look like. I don't want to see, when you first put it on the grill, I don't want to see the meat. Right. It needs to have enough rub on there but don't pat it down. Just let it, lay there and maybe help, spray some apple juice, like you say.
Right. You don't rub it.
No. And no, I don't rub it. No. Now I will, spritz it with apple juice and, help the sweating process kind of go. I used to let them rest for about 30 minutes before I put them on the grill. But now I'm kind of the mind that, put it on. I like to put all of my meats on pretty cold. In fact, as cold as possible, to try to get, being a cooker on Traeger, I need as much time on the Traeger naked so that you get as much smoke on there. So I think I listened to your picking out competition. One thing that came to mind when I was listening to that one is I always get the same kind of weight of ribs. Okay. Because that dictates my process and from a cooking, your timeline and stuff. And so, and I think y'all said that you don't do the fall off the bone cooking, and but related to the weight, my process is kind of a fall off the bone method. So, but I think down here you have to do that just because the judges can't touch it. But so they, it's with the knife and fork. So when they go and get a piece, I want as much of meat to slide off on that fork as possible, and so that's just kind of my thinking. But I think people underseason their ribs.
Yeah, I saw that. So kind of, I don't remember who I was watching. I think I was watching a YouTube video, and it was more so on when you box and you're plating your ribs, and this is the garnishing and making sure everything's pretty and whatever. But it was more so your eye kind of deceives you a little bit, and this goes back to when you season your meat down. Go ahead and season your meat down, or if you're boxing or whatever, go ahead and take a picture of it with your phone, and then look at the picture. And you can see bald spots where you miss seasoning. You can see where that little sprig or that little piece of grass or whatever they put in it.
Grass.
I'm kidding. Is out of place, or it's bare, or something's missing. Something in your mind, your eyeball, the communication, it's just not seeing it. But when you take a picture of it, it's like blatantly, it's like right there. It's like, oh, I need to add more seasoning right there, or I need to address this issue right here. I don't remember what pitmaster or competition cook that I saw, but that was one of their big deals. Like, they would just take a picture of it after they thought everything was finished boxed, and then they would see a glaring issue right here in the photo that they never saw with their naked eye.
Yeah, it's probably too late by that time.
Right.
But I take a picture of all my boxes, and then I look at them the next day, just like you're saying, because once it's in the box, it's probably too late to really fix things. But that's one of the things. I have OCD tendencies, I call it, and I hate hard, stringy bark on ribs. So my cooking process is set up, because if you take a bite of the rib or something like that, and how sometimes it's kind of stringy and you pull it off and stuff, I hate that. And so I do some things to prevent that. And also, I don't cook the ribs. I used to also cook the ribs meat side down, in the wrap, and whatever you wrap it in, whatever juice you wrap it in. But I think that also rubs, like you said, some bald spots on my rack of ribs. And, even that it can't be covered up with glaze. And so that bothered me. So I like more of an artist. I want it to look really pretty. And so in fact, I don't know of anyone that wraps this way, but if you know Danielle DivaQ, my way of wrapping drives her crazy because she wraps her ribs all like a nice little Christmas present. And what happens is that aluminum foil touches the top of your rib and it'll do the bald spots just like you're talking about. So I actually wrap it and I come out and I wrap it like an A-frame, and it makes it real easy to manipulate. And I've done that since like 2007 or something like that, just because I don't want anything to touch the top of my rib.
Makes sense.
To mess with the bark and the appearance of the rib.
Yeah. So when we competed out there at Austin, so we tried something new. We got a little advice from Aaron Leslie with Texas Oil Dust Seasoning, and he cooks,
that's a good one.
He cooks his ribs in a pan, tinfoil pan, meat side up, tinfoil pan. He's like, go ahead and try that out. We were ecstatic. I mean, it came out phenomenal. We were pleasantly surprised because I was worried it was just going to be there's too much area for it to steam. You know what I mean? Like they're just going to create too much steam. You'll get a lot of moisture in there, but maybe we opened it up. Bark was still set. Everything was firm. I was like, okay, everything was really tender. Yeah. We've tried the meat side down. We've tried meat side up. Meat side down, obviously it's going to sit there and just braise in whatever liquid that you have there, and it's probably going to remove whatever seasoning that you do have on there, unless it
disappear.
Unless it's like just super just charred on, but still, I mean, then your ribs probably might be a little bit overdone. But so we started doing the face up method. It worked out at Austin. We'll try it again. We'll keep experimenting with it.
Yeah, we did pretty well in ribs out there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I think before in your original one, I think you were cooking meat down.
We were.
So I've cooked meat up for a long time. So yeah, I agree with that.
Where do you think where do you think a lot of people go wrong? Like I can try somebody else's rib and I'm like, okay, that's a good rib, and I can try my rib. I'm like, okay, that's a good rib too. But all these ribs get into the final judging area and they start going through it. And sometimes you get some of these competitions, which I love, they're starting to get a little bit more feedback as far as what you're doing right or what you're doing wrong or what they experience. But where do you think people are falling short on doing ribs? Is it seasoning? Is it sauce?
Yeah, and I think I was actually falling short on trying to be too complex in my glaze.
Okay.
And getting too many different flavors in the glaze, and that was overpowering my seasoning as well as the flavor of the meat. And so I think that was a problem that I had when I cooked at the San Antonio Rodeo. I just went with one barbecue sauce as the glaze, and we got 18th out of, what was it, 288 teams or something like that. So,
awesome.
So I think that's kind of on the right track. And I'll tell you one thing that I've started doing, because we actually did pretty well at the San Antonio Rodeo and also at the Houston Rodeo. We did pretty well, but I've started to use, and this is kind of a KCBS trick, is I'm coming out with a finishing dust here probably in the next month or so. And I'm putting a finishing dust, I used to, try to use the white lightning stuff, but you can see that the little white flakes everywhere and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I've got a paprika based finishing dust, and I've started using that on all three of my meats. And I think that, I've done pretty well here the last two large cook-offs doing that. And so I do that after I glaze. So I put it on after I glaze, and it's there in the glaze, and you really can't see it, because it kind of melds into the glaze and you can't see it. But you can definitely taste it.
Yeah, so this is something you're going to put on the market?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, yeah. I'm doing it through Old World Spice.
Okay.
It's going to be called Doug's Dust. And
nice.
we just finalized it and went through several iterations and stuff. So yeah, that's going to be coming out. So I'm going to be coming out with a brisket rub and then an all-purpose rub. So it's something I said I'd never do, but and every year I say I'd never do this and I never do that, and then I wind up kind of doing it and stuff. So like I said I'd never be on podcasts and
Right.
on the Barbecue Central and the baseball and barbecue show and as a co-host and stuff. So yeah, it's every year it's something different. I get into something different that I thought I'd never do.
Well, I can't wait to try some of that stuff. That sounds
Yeah,
amazing.
definitely. Yeah, how is it? I'll be honest, I haven't checked out I need to check out the Baseball and Barbecue podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, so it's the two guys are Lynn and Jeff, and they are out of New York, Long Island, New York, and so they're up into, I think they're up into episode 200. They've been doing it about 5 years or so.
Okay,
and maybe it's like Anyway, so they'll have like about a 45-minute interview with baseball, and then about a 45-minute interview with barbecue. And so the first time I was on, I've been in fantasy baseball for like 22 years. And so I'm kind of a freak on so I know a lot of the stats of recent stats and stuff. And so we started talking some baseball, and I'm a Cubs fan, and they're a Mets fan. And so anyway, but I told them my two favorite moments in baseball, and the second one was when I went and saw Albert Pujols. I go to a different stadium every year, so I've been to 18 of the stadiums. This year we're going to Cleveland in May, and it was when Albert Pujols went back to St. Louis for the first time. Those fans cheered him like he was still on the team,
right.
and awesome. it was so cool to see. And so in the second game, I went down. We actually had a box, and then we had seats behind first base, and so I went down there for some reason, and I recorded Albert Pujols cranks one over the left field wall. The stadium erupts and everything. It was just fantastic. But my favorite moment was when I was on, I think it's June. The date is June 2nd, 2012. I was actually at the Mets' only no-hit. That was their first no-hitter by one pitcher, and that was Johan Santana. And because my friends, we go on this baseball trip, and they like to follow the Cardinals around. So I was cheering with the Mets fans all the time because I hate the Dirty Birds, being a Cubs fan. And so and it was just a fantastic, magical moment and stuff. And so that kind of won their hearts. And so they had me on for a few baseball. In fact, we just were on with Jeremy Affeldt, who was a 3-time winner with San Francisco Giants. And he owns a brewery here in Bernie, which is not too far away. Yeah. And I saw him on a TV show, sent him an Instagram message, and he said, "Hell yeah, I'll be on the show." So he actually had just started a podcast too, episode 7. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. I think maybe this weekend or the next weekend, I was co-hosting. It was with Meathead, so Meathead was on their show again and stuff. And so it's good. I get to open the show with the first question and the last question as the guest host, and it's been just a lot of fun. So I'm on there usually once or twice a month.
Dude, that's badass. Yeah, I could tell you my least favorite baseball moment involved Albert Pujols. And that was the of course, I'm an Astros fan, being here in the Houston area, when he destroyed Brad Lidge and he hit this home run that I don't even think it landed. I don't think it still landed. I think he ended up just ruining Brad Lidge's career. Up to that point, the guy they called him lights out. He would just, and then he.
Oh, really? That was a turning point for him, you think?
He could not get it back together.
No kidding. Oh, I'll have to look into that. That's very interesting.
Yep.
That's very interesting. So yeah.
I
like it.
Never was a fan of the St. Louis Cardinals. I guess the Astros, I guess back in the day, were in the same division with the Cardinals and Cubs. Am I remembering that correctly? Or was it
I don't remember him being in the same division. I actually stopped watching baseball for a period of 10, 15 years after the strike and stuff, and then got back into it for fantasy.
Okay. So I'm probably misremembering, but
yeah. But in fact, we were a little late tonight. I actually picked picked up this new pitcher that just started pitching today, and he pitched against the Cubs and did pretty well. But anyway, so I was all excited, like, this is great. I'm glad that there's a delay. Nice. His name's Mason Miller, and I picked him up off the waiver wire, so I can't wait to piss some people off. So,
hell yeah.
But
that's what fantasy sports is all about, pissing somebody off.
Oh yeah, getting the guy before another competitor does. So absolutely. So yeah, we've been doing it for a long time. Have a live draft and stuff. So
well, I'm sorry this is going to come out of left field so much, but I have to ask you this question because when I saw this, it was like just very bizarre sounding to me. Somebody had asked you what the strangest thing I think you had ever cooked was or had. And you had mentioned, do you know what I'm going to say?
Crawfish.
The crawfish cheesecake.
Yeah, it's in it's a savory dish.
Yeah.
So it's like a dip. And and we had it at a restaurant here in the San Antonio area, and so we started delving in and stuff, and so my wife came up with several renditions of it, and it's a pretty strange dish, just from the standpoint, because it's like a cheesecake, but it's hot, and it has the crawfish in there, and has a the seafood taste to it and everything. So
I just imagine it could be good, but trying to like wrap your mind around eating that, you know what I mean?
It's not something I'd ever would have thought of, especially a cheesecake being hot. So yeah, it's a savory dip. And that you can serve, so you don't eat it like you wouldn't be a dessert. It'd be more like an appetizer that you serve at the beginning of the meal. So yes, I've been actually one of my old high school buddies messaged me one time and wanted the recipe, and I'm like, okay, let me dig it up, and so I sent it to her, because that's one of the things. I keep a journal, and if the recipe's interesting, I file it away and keep it for later use at some point in time. So
okay, well, I take it you're not serving that in the open category at these barbecue competitions, though.
No, that hasn't come up as one of the ones I want to serve as the open category. Now, y'all did real well at the Austin Open in the open category, right?
We did. Yeah. What was it? 12th or something?
Oh, the brisket or the beef rib mac and cheese.
Yeah, beef rib mac and cheese. Yeah,
that sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty legit.
So, yeah, because I served steak and mac and cheese at the Houston and got like 20 something and stuff. But that sounds good.
And I think we definitely get some style points. I think whenever they open that up and there's a big old bone in beef.
Oh, I loved it. I'm telling you right now, I may steal that. That was great. That's a great idea. Yeah, that's a great idea.
I know your wife Jen. She used to throw down the steak and the Hasselback potatoes.
Yeah, that's actually what we got first. And that's something that I don't know how people consider their world championships, So, some people say they've got, I know one person says they've 7 world championships, but just because you get first place in a category, I'm not sure that designates as a world championship as compared to like when we won the Houston Rodeo. So
right.
When you're the overall grand champion. So, but we got, a first place at the Jack Daniels, cooking just prime ribeyes. And we only did it because it was easy and simple. And then my wife did the Hasselback potatoes, and so we served those. She went to the dollar store on the way to the Jack and picked up the dollar platters, a silver one and a gold one, and that's what we decorated. And we would have had a perfect score, but we used that was our last one to decorate, and we were running out of stuff, and so it wasn't. The grass wasn't as pretty as it probably could have been, and we dinged on one appearance score. Got an 8 instead of a 9. Otherwise, we would have had a perfect score. But they were some of the best ones the best ribeyes I'd ever cooked and stuff at the time. But yeah, the Hasselback potatoes. So that was just kind of a Texas thing, and we did it. In fact, they called our name 3 times before we realized that we had actually won because we weren't even paying. We weren't even paying attention. We're like, oh wow, Myron's been called, and other people. So, but so we got a first place at that, and then. I got a first place at the Royal cooking with Danielle one year when she asked me to help her cook. So we got a first in potato, and I think we tied for first in sausage. So, but I still just I just still say one world championship, not 3 or 4, whatever. Right. So, yeah.
Where do you think? I'm coming to the questions. Where do you think people go wrong with steaks when they're doing these competitions? I know SCA. I don't know if you've how many SCA competitions you have under your belt. I know we've not judged, but when we went to the American Royal, Kel Phelps with the Barbecue News Magazine was kind enough to let us go behind the scenes of the SCA competition that they were doing there, and we got to try like about 20 turn-ins. After they were already judged, a lot of great steaks, and that was kind of a really good eye-opening event for us because you got to taste all the steaks. Definitely a lot of just umami flavor, a lot of soy, a lot of Worcestershire, a lot of butter. Like a lot of some that
they all do use a lot of butter. Yes, exactly.
But sometimes some of them taste like just artificial butter, and some just taste like maybe that's real butter or whatever. We had some good ones and we had some bad ones. We had some ones that are like I don't even know what that flavor is. But any input, any insight on doing a steak? I
actually have a curiosity on SCA, but I haven't actually cooked one. And the reason is I'm long known for this. I'm anti-grill marks. I'm like, I want an all over sear. And, that's just not popular in the SCA, the SCA world. So, I like, and that's where you get the Maillard effect and actually when you put those grill marks on, you're actually burning the meat fibers so that they actually can't retain water, so you're actually burning them to a crisp when you do that, and they don't have the flavor that you really want. So, it's that's just a different world. Now I will use, there is a meat tenderizer that I use from the SCA world. If you've listened to, Rusty Monson of the Pitmaster podcast and Anthony Lujan, they probably cover the most on the SCA, cooks and having people in on their show and stuff. And so, I've listened to a lot of their, the methods and things like that they do. So, it's just, it's appealing because, you don't have to be there for 36, 48 hours sort of thing. And, you're in and out and you can take, your pickup truck and, put a grill in the back. And, so that actually is very appealing, but yeah, I just haven't. I've got too many things going on that I haven't dipped my toe into that. Because if I dip my toe, I'm gonna, try to win something, and I'll devote too much time to it.
Assassin,
Yeah. So right now I'm only doing about 4 or 5 contests a year because I've upped the number of events and things that I do. So that's taken the place of doing a bunch of contests. So next week I'm going to Kansas. So
okay. The tenderizer that you referenced earlier, was it the Wicked Pig?
That stuff is amazing. Is amazing.
I got it at the house. I've experimented with it once. I need to play around with it a little bit more. But yes, it is.
Don't do it longer than 20 minutes.
Yeah,
but that stuff is good. That stuff is real good.
All right,
it sounds awesome. Before we cut you loose. And I don't remember if I talked to you about this before or not. Do you have maybe like 1 or 2 tips that we can give the listeners for ribs? This is, we're sort of wrapping up this rib series. And if we could give 1 or 2 tips from the Doug Scheiding road cookers to the listeners, that would be amazing.
Well, I talked about the weight. Make sure you're always cooking the same weight of rib. So, I'm a 375. Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. So, I'm only, I cook, I think on one of the podcasts, y'all went through kind of the number of racks to cook and stuff like that. So I cook 4 racks of ribs, and I try to pull only from 2. But sometimes I may pull from 3, but, so thickness of the rib is certainly one thing. I'll tell you, you probably have never heard of someone doing this, but I cut my ribs with an electric knife. And the reason I do that is because sometimes when you cut with just a knife, sometimes it pulls on the meat, and then sometimes you get the little strands, that looks like rice, that kind of pop up, and then you have to use the tweezers to get that off and stuff. But I just cut my ribs with an electric knife, and you can. When you first start out, you can use a toothpick to kind of see which way the bones go. But now I don't. And again, meat up. Don't flip your ribs over, meat down, and cut from the other side, because then you're jacking with your meat bark that you have, that as we talked about. So cut meat up. Learn how to cut meat up. Use a toothpick if you need to, if the bones are crooked, and try doing it with an electric knife. So, and some of those, with the electric knife, it's actually pretty easy too to do a little bit of Cadillac cuts on some of those ribs.
Love that. That's what I'm talking about. These are the tips.
The deep knowledge.
Yes. Yes. We appreciate you, Doug.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, thanks. Yeah, thanks for asking me again. I think this is my third time, right? This is number 3.
We were just talking about this. I'm pretty sure you're the only person we've had on 3 times this far.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're leading the pack.
He is, yeah. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
I know
Jan.
Love talk. Jan's not here today. He had a work obligation, and I'll be honest, I think Jan just probably is out there drinking a little beer. He's
drunk.
He had a little work cook where he's in sales, and so they had him come out, and I think he had to cook some boudin and some wings and stuff like that. He just threw down on the grill, more of a kind of a socialized work event, bringing customers in. But he's like, I'm not gonna be able to make the podcast, guys. So I was like, hey, no big deal. We'll fly solo without you. But he sends his best regards. Hopefully, we'll have you back on soon again, because I know Jan's got a ton of questions for you.
Yeah, he was a little bummed when I told him that Doug was coming on.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's one of the things, y'all always taste all these beers and everything. So I got one question for y'all.
Yeah.
Why in the hell is Coors Light your beer of choice to go to when you have all these beers that you taste? And, I think Alex is what? Michelob Ultra,
right?
So he probably has to put his skirt on, when he's drinking his Michelob Ultra. Yeah. And I hate to talk bad about him if he's not here, and then all of y'all are like Coors Light, except I think Matt you're saying Arnold, so
yeah.
Right, the lawnmower. So
yeah,
if I crack me up.
I love the craft beers, and if I'm gonna have just one at the house or maybe 2 at the house, it's typically always craft beer. I'll get St. Arnold's, or I'll get one of these other beers. But if I know I'm gonna have more than that, and we're cranking them back at the podcast or whatever, I cannot go with those high alcohol content beers. I gotta go with low cal, low alcohol.
You keep your girlish figures. Yeah. I got it.
Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah.
You already know.
Try the Twisted X Pitmaster beer. That's the one that's lower alcohol. If you've had that,
I have had that. Yeah, I have had that.
Have you?
Yeah,
it's really good.
It's built. The owner's name is Hunter. They're in Dripping Springs, and he designed it for barbecue cooking. And
wow.
He come out. He's good buddies with Jay Tenney. And in fact, he was at the San Antonio Rodeo unveiling his Pitmaster beer that you could drink all day. Yeah. And then the next morning, he swore he went to bed at 11. And I'm like, Hunter, you fell off the RV at midnight, and I helped you up, and we stayed up till 2 drinking your Pitmaster beer. So there is a point of no return, even with Pitmaster lower alcohol beer, as proven on the first night of the release of the beer. But anyway, so yeah, y'all need to change the Coors Light.
We need to read
something else.
Hey, we're always in a search for a sponsor for the podcast. Maybe we need to reach out to Twisted X and see if they want to sponsor the podcast with the Pitmaster brew.
We did just pick up a sponsor partner, Curveball Whiskey here, barbecue whiskey. I don't know if you've tried that. If you haven't, I'll have to send you some. But
no, I love bourbon and whiskey.
It could make for some some saucy episodes, I think, because that's what I've been drinking tonight, and I'm feeling good. Feeling real good.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, guys. Well,
Doug, we
I
appreciate it as
like
always.
Fireman's 4 and Hefeweizen, so that's kind of my beers. But
Okay.
anyway, we can talk more about that later. But I appreciate you having me on, and maybe that'll be episode 4. We can talk a little beer.
I think the next episode is going to be about beer. Let's go.
Just a whole beer episode.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Bourbon and beer. Let's go.
Okay, now we're talking. Yeah, bourbon. Yeah, bourbon is. My neighbor's gotten me into bourbon, so
Alex
a lot
is,
more than.
Alex is a huge bourbon drinker, so he's got a whole just closet full of stuff that he never even touches. I'm like, what about that? No, we're saving that. I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah, I've got a couple bottles of Pappy actually that I bought years ago.
Yep.
So and I've got a neighbor that's a bourbon fanatic, and he keeps trying because apparently it's more valuable because it has the original price tag on it, like $39.95 or something like that. Oh yeah, as soon as and you look at the bottom of the bourbon, yeah, he's a fanatic. So. But I don't want to be that level. But all right, guys, thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it. Always a great time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Take care, bud.
You bet.
Always freaking fun having Doug on. That dude is a pleasure to talk to every single time, even when he uses big words that I don't know what he's saying.
Doug's so knowledgeable, and he's done it all. He's been to all the competitions. He's won a lot. He's part of the pro ambassador teams, whether it's E3 Meat or Traeger or Head Country. Super knowledgeable guy. We enjoy having him. He's charismatic, very enthusiastic, and he loves the craft of barbecue, and his passion shows. So I mean, it's freaking always awesome having the guy on.
He's pretty open, right, with sharing his knowledge and whatever. I mean, he's not giving out all the secrets, but he's giving out some of the secrets, which is good. What do you got for us, Matt?
Well, first of all, I think we need to cue in the Grabbing the Brisket beer review. Now, it's funny that Doug was giving us a hard time about drinking Coors Light and all these light beers and everything.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Doug?
I got a craft beer, light beer.
Boom.
So this
Now
is
what,
from New Magnolia Brewing Company. And this is the Heights Light Lager. And they say here it's a silver award winner from last year.
Yeah, isn't this from the American Beer Festival? Didn't they win silver out there?
Sure. Let's go with yes. But what I like about what I wanted to get this is because we've interviewed some brewmasters before, and they've mentioned that like the light beer is one of the hardest ones to do.
Yeah.
They mentioned like IPAs and stuff like that. It's actually kind of easy, and that's why you see so many of them in the craft brew world. But light beers are pretty difficult, so thought we'd try out a light beer.
The flavor will reflect that.
Where were these guys out of?
I'm not
Magnolia?
sure.
These aren't the people that were trying to go set up a thing at their brewery, is it?
It's actually Houston.
Think
It's Houston.
so.
Houston,
What
Texas.
was the one that Denny was talking about?
Oh, we did a review. I'm not going to remember the name off the top of my head.
I want to say it was like Magnolia something, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think you're wrong. I don't.
Yeah, I think you're wrong.
I don't remember what it was called, but
Okay, don't judge it because my old fridge in the garage is not quite cold enough.
we're going to judge
Keep that
it.
in
buddy.
mind.
We
Keep that
are
in
going to
mind.
judge it.
It's not what I expected it to taste like.
Light lager.
When I hear light lager, I think of it's going to be like a Coors Light kind of beer.
This is
Right.
pretty
And
damn
it's not
light.
like that.
No,
It is light.
It's not Coors Light. I'm definitely getting some other kind of flavors on
It's
there.
lighter
sweet.
than Coors Light. It's got that. It kind of reminds me of that. Did you ever have that Aikman beer, the 8?
Oh yeah,
It kind of reminds me a little bit of that.
not good.
Not good.
That's not good. It's very yeah. It tastes like I remember beer smelling when I was like 7. Like, ooh,
Wow,
what is
okay.
that?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some kind of
It tastes like.
back end flavor I can't describe.
Are we sure this wasn't? It's not like rebranded Bud Light or something like that. I'm
yeah.
just kidding.
I was like,
You got to
looking at
sell it somehow.
I'm trying to look at the date on it. Like, how old is this? How long has it been on the shelf?
Honestly, it's not awful. It's
Yeah, it's not
really
terrible.
not. It's not terrible, but it does have a weird little I don't know what it is.
Would you ever get this over any other light beer?
No.
Any other light beer?
Any other light beer?
Yeah, maybe some other light beer that I haven't tried yet. I don't know.
I would take Montucky over this.
I love Montucky, so yeah, I would too. But
And to keep in mind, this is the 2022 Silver Beer Festival Award winner.
Maybe if it was colder.
Maybe it just needs to be a lot colder.
maybe it shouldn't be room temp, Matt.
It's not room temp,
Let you
but
in charge of beer one time.
Yeah. Matt just pulled this out of his trunk. It was like, here you go, guys.
Yeah, I asked him to bring the beer. He'll never ask me to bring the beer again.
it's been in there for at least like 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
So it should have got cold enough, but I don't know.
We had a guy back in our old hometown of Strawn, Texas. It could have been Mingus, Texas, but this dude would roll around with a case of Pearl Light
What, in the trunk?
in the trunk of his
Yeah.
car. And there were just no, like, hey, I can't remember his name. Shit, I talked to my uncle, whatever. But
Bobby?
Hey, do you want to put that on ice? He's like, nope. And just literally just go to the
Nope.
trunk, just warm beer, just like boom.
That's disgusting.
All right, hey, it's 4% and 9 IBUs.
You're not helping sell it if that's what you're trying to do.
I mean,
I'm just letting you know what it is.
it's less alcohol and more bitter.
Honestly, this is not the worst thing I've ever tasted. It's not bad. It's
Okay. Well, since you said that, you go first. What are you grading it?
the more I drink it, the more I tolerate it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling too.
Yeah, it's not that bad, but I feel like this probably costs quite a bit more than a Coors Light.
I think it's a tall boy 4-pack, and I think it was just under $10.
Yeah, see, you can get a lot more Coors Light for that price.
Yeah.
And I don't think it tastes that much different than any other light beer. You're probably right there. So they probably got the award because, wow, how'd you make it taste like a light beer? You know what I mean? It's so middle of the road for me. I'm going to give it a 5.1.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a fine. It's okay.
Yeah,
It's
solid
average.
3.5 for me.
Whoa,
geez.
man, you
No.
really don't like
I
it.
don't like
Now,
it at
if
all.
this were cold and you had it in your cooler, I would drink it. Again, I'm not buying it because I think it probably costs too much for what it is. But if it were cold in there, I would drink it. It's fine. It's just it tastes like a light beer.
I'm giving it a couple extra marks because the more I drink it, the more I'm liking it. And I don't want to hit it too hard for not being cold enough. I'm giving it 5.7.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair.
The extra can I have is not going in the trash. I'm still going to drink
No,
it.
I think it's
You know
it's
what I mean?
totally a drinkable beer.
It's a middle of the road, kind of.
Yeah, I think two of us are being very fair with our score.
I think two of us are, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm included with the right crowd here. And if Jan was here with us, he'd be like, no.
Yeah, we would have lost him at 4%, I think.
Yeah. It wouldn't have got over a 4.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's very just kind of bitter.
It's not bad for a warm beer, right?
For warm beer.
Yeah, I can't get behind it.
Okay.
First of all, the labeling is just shit. Like,
that is true.
You don't like
I'm
the, yeah,
sorry.
I mean, it is kind of just.
Pretty mediocre.
just give me something. Like, give me some monkeys with knives fighting each other.
We're too spoiled from the Martin House beers.
There's just a lot of open space on this
Yeah.
can. Like you could have done something over here or over here, down here. There's like just a
I'll
lot
be
of
honest,
room.
part of me picking this was I'm just determined to not get a Martin House beer for
Right.
variety's sake.
Well, I hope
Right.
you learned your lesson.
Matt's over here feeding us like non-alcoholic beer. That's why it's all tastes all jacked up.
I have actually thought about doing that, bringing
Bringing
in
in
a non-
O'Doul's
just
or
to see
something.
what you but not tell y'all, just like see what y'all thought. Oh, this is fucking awesome. This is fucking great.
I've never had a non-alcoholic beer in my life. Never tried it.
I'm pretty sure I've tasted my uncle's. He used to drink O'Doul's all the time.
Wow.
Dual rules.
Well, this
O'Doyle?
exciting beer ends the Grab the Brisket beer review. It's kind of weird with just the three of us doing that.
I think I'm going to go ahead and switch back to our new partner, Curveball Whiskey at this point. So,
Oh, I see.
because it tastes better.
Does it taste better?
Anyways,
Better than what?
better
What we
than
just drank.
this stuff.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. That's the beer review. We've already did the. That's the mail, motherfuckers. What's
You're
next?
supposed to cue me in for the barbecue fail?
Next up, we've got the SUCKLEBUSTERS barbecue win, barbecue fail, and this is a letter. I think they wrote in a letter. A
handwritten letter.
Handwritten letter
gee.
with stamps and everything.
Dude, that
If
is
you'll
awesome.
buy that. No, they sent us a message somewhere on one of our
one of our medias.
Yes, one of our media things
That you can access by going to
It may have actually-
www.grabthebrisket.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. GrabTheBrisket.com. Go there. Send us your info. Don't send us your info. Send us your
Yeah,
questions.
send us your info.
Send us your
info.
We need to know your dog, your family, your
mother's maiden
earliest
name,
dog pet name, and
What
your
street
best
you grew up
friend
on.
and your street name. It's fine. It's for science.
Okay. All right. This is from Chad Clontz. He wrote this into us. I haven't read this yet. I don't know if it's going to be a win or a fail. I'm going to learn along with you.
Sometimes I wish you would read these ahead of time. It should be easier for you to read, but go for it, Matt.
This might be a little bit different. It's about 2.5 day process. I watched a video of a guy using beef consomme as an injection, so I figured why not try it. This was a 15-pound prime brisket from Sam's Club, trimmed down. I layered it in a pan, then injected 1 can of beef consomme into it, then let it set in the fridge overnight. Next, let the consomme be the binder. Season thyme, which he picked the chupacabra on both sides, and Killer Hog's brisket rub on top for some added pepper. So drinking and texting is like drinking and driving. Not good. To finish the brisket cook, I let the seasoning set for 6 hours or so in the fridge. Then off to the pit, which was the BFG 2500 RecTech at 200 internal temp, 165. Wrap until 204, and then the rest was money, so the family said. This is brought to you by Jack Daniel's Triple Mash, 100%. Get you right. Keep up the good work, guys.
So what he's saying is he was drunk while he was
drunk.
texting us.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I will say, Chad, help me out with your grammar a little bit. I was trying very hard to read these broken up sentences.
That was clearly
That he might have also
texting.
been drinking as he texts this
I
to
think
us.
that's what he's saying. Beer
Yeah.
and texting is like beer and driving, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what he's trying to tell us.
I was doing my best.
I don't remember. Now I'm wondering if he had sent us like pictures or videos or something. If you did, I don't remember seeing them. So send them, and I'll share them in a future episode. But it sounds like he made a winner. This sounds like a winner chicken dinner.
I guess.
Yeah, he said. Didn't he say it was all good from there or something? It sounds like it came out fantastic.
Well, he said the family said it was money.
Okay, that means it's good. Yeah,
So-
that's a win.
Yeah.
Win. What do they win? Secondary more?
Okay, first, the family won because they got awesome freaking food. He won because he got like shit-faced. And he won again because he's going to win a free bottle of SUCKLEBUSTERS rub. SUCKLEBUSTERS. Everybody wins some SUCKLEBUSTERS.
Hey, I like that. He did a nice job filling in.
I mean, it's not quite Jan, but it's still
Yeah.
pretty good.
Maybe a little more.
Yeah.
A little more.
Little,
Whatever.
little elbow movement.
Loosen
shoulders.
up a little bit in the hips. I don't know.
Yeah.
You did good though. That was
Thank you,
great.
man.
Yeah. Chad, you said?
Chad.
Congratulations,
Chad,
Chad.
let us know what rub you want. We recommend Chicks to Smoke because it's fantastic, but SUCKLEBUSTERS does have a lot of amazing rubs. Just let us know which one you want. And if you want to get a free rub from SUCKLEBUSTERS, send us your barbecue win, your barbecue fail, and you can send it on any of our social medias, or you can send it through our
Hotline number 434-829-2299.
Exactly that.
Glad I could help you out there,
Yeah,
John.
or grabthebrisket.com. We appreciate it.
Yeah. As always, guys, I don't even know what we're going to talk about next week, but I know it's going to be fun, and we're going to get drunk doing it. As always, it's been fun talking barbecue with you guys.
Peace.
Thanks, everybody. We've been great.
Dang it, Bobby. Just grab the brisket. We'd like to give a special thanks to SUCKLEBUSTERS Barbecue Rubs and Sauces, Bonner's Fiesta Spices, Cooley Nation Custom Koozies, Cambro Manufacturing, Yeti Coolers, the Smoke Sheep Barbecue Newsletter, and Dow Strong Knives. We definitely appreciate your support.